Good afternoon. Roy Blizzard here, uh, giving you another few minutes uh, as I'm going home. Uh, Tonight, I thought I would like to talk to you a little bit about the Bible, do a little interpretation, why it's important. You like what I'm saying and you want to hear more, be sure to hit your little subscribe button so you know when it's coming up. But when you start talking about Bible interpretation, Bible translation, uh, there's a lot of problems that uh, are out there. A lot of people are King James only, or they like the Revised Standard, or this, that, and the other. And to be honest with you, there's not really what you would call good translations out there. Uh, they're okay. I mean, I use the King James just because it's codified to every research reference work out there. And it's easy to use. Everybody seems to have it, so I use it. It's not that it's really good. It's just as bad as all the rest of them if you're trying to do intensive biblical research. But, for example, the very first word in Genesis is in the English just about universally in the beginning. Unfortunately, the Hebrew text does not say that. And it's important to realize that in the beginning delineates time and space, and that is not there. It says Bereshit, which means in a beginning, in beginning. It's not time specific. Then, going on from there, what we have to realize in Hebrew is there's no tenses. There's simply aspects of time. It was just convention that the aorist Greek was chosen to represent the past tense in Hebrew. But realistically, a past or a present or a future can all mean the same thing. It's all context driven. But when we look at the text, my Hebrew professor was a very brilliant linguist. He had a paper that he gave at the Hebrew Language Academy in Israel, got a standing ovation on it, and all of these guys are Hebrew linguists. They were responsible for reviving the Hebrew language and researching it, creating the new words and all that. And his paper was speaking about that just the very first verse in Genesis could be misinterpreted, if you don't know what you're doing, by at least 20 different ways. So, I know most of you guys don't know Hebrew from a chicken scratch, and it's important to realize that there's hardly anybody with a YouTube video out there that knows doodly squat about Hebrew. I mean, there's a few of them. I know a few of them personally, and but I'd say by and large, most of them haven't got the foggiest clue of what Hebrew is all about, how you translate it, how you deal with it. They've got some axe to grind, and they're going to grind you into the grinding stone along with their axe. But if you are interested in doing some research, Strong's isn't very good. Brown Driver Briggs is excellent. You can get some very good information about it, but it's having to change your mindset. Now, mindset of most people in America is very Western thinking, and you can't think about how we derive meaning from an Eastern Oriental mindset. It's not the same. And when you look at the translations, by and large, they're very slavishly done. I don't even call them a translation. They're what we call a transliteration. They just took a word in one language, like taco, and stuck it from Spanish into English, and you got taco. Well, what the heck is a taco? I don't know. I'm not Spanish, so how am I supposed to know what the word taco means? So you have this very same slavish transliteration from Hebrew and into Greek and then into English, and there were many, many boo-boos, and it just didn't really lend itself to getting the nuances and the proper meaning of the Hebrew text. When I did my Gospel of John translation, I literally translated it. It took me 17 years of working on it in order to complete it, get it published. And I looked up every word and researched every word to try to figure out, well, why did this particular word get into the text? What was Jesus trying to say by using this particular word? And it was a work based on a Hebrew text done by Franz Delitzsch, who knew that the language of Hebrew was codified to Greek language when the Septuagint was done about 250 BC. So, knowing that, he went back and retranslated the Greek text back into something that makes sense in Hebrew, and it was a very great work. And it's very, very good Hebrew. But it actually gives you an idea of what's going on and why he would be saying what he said. There's some actually very good verses in there. But Franz Delitzsch was a great scholar, did a lot of other works. But when you translate, you've got to communicate meaning. And that's something that very few of these books really get into, these Bible translations, because there's no meaning being translated. It's just simply words being put into another language. And, most of the time, the Jewish context and the culture and the nuances of what is being communicated are gone. And to give you an idea of one passage, when Jesus is on the cross, and the Greek text says, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. The Hebrew also says, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. What happened is that part of the verse is regular Hebrew, and Hebrew had absorbed some Aramaic at the time. And so you get Eli, Eli, which is an abbreviation for Elijah, but it's also my God in Hebrew. That's why the people said, oh, he's calling for Elijah because he's about to go from this world to the next world. But what he did was he started the passage, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? And then when he passes away on the cross, he says in the Greek, tetelestai, it is finished, and that's a terrible mistranslation. The actual words are, my God hath done this. So you can get tetelestai to mean God hath done this if you know what the nuances of the translation are, but it never quite came out that way in English, and that shows you one of the problems of translation. But I'll try to get you some more examples of how this book has been kind of butchered up and what some of the proper meanings are as we go along. But if you'd like to follow along, just hit your subscribe button and follow along. Have a good evening and God bless. Hope everything is going well in your house. Thank you. Bye-bye.